home to Kingsport today for an errand, and Rural King has opened up in the Fort Henry Mall. So I'm going to check them out. Folgers coffee, $13.99. That's cheaper than the grocery store, so I got some half and half. Lots of canning supplies. I saw they had wide mouth quart jars for $15 and something, but I don't see them. They're all the regular. Found them.
You do, and I'll just mark. Tell me how many are in there.
How much chicken did my dad get you?
A lot. So, and you have to get all the stuff done in the yard. You can turn it into a money.
Well, I'm back at Evergreen, and look at these beautiful pots that they have. Clay pots. It's starting to rain, so I've got to hurry, but I came back to get one of those climbing hydrangeas, and they've got these beautiful ones on sale, and I may have to get one of those too. Let me get over here where my climbing one is. Well, I've got the climbing hydrangea, and it's got a lot of leaders coming out of it, but I'm just looking around to see what else they have. I love browsing garden shops. Lots of water fountains. That bench is beautiful. Found all the perennials. Oh, and I was looking for black-eyed Susan. It's right here in front of me. So I went back to Evergreen today to get the climbing hydrangea. We've had quite a bit of rain, and I was able to dig a hole deep enough myself without getting into too many roots, and I cut those roots out. And it's got a lot of leaders on it, and I think it will just start climbing right up this bench arbor and look so pretty. And I used my Mother's Day gift card from James and Ashley to get that, and I really appreciate it. I love you guys. I also got 2 other plants and planted them around the cherry tree landscape. Let's go down there. Okay, I keep adding to this landscape area, and I think I need to stop now because when these things start maturing, they will really fill in good. But today I bought this new plant, and I fell in love with the foliage. It's a perennial, and it's called a Gaura. I've never heard of it. Gaura. And it says it's passionate rainbow. Needs full sun, and it attracts butterflies. And there's a picture of the bloom when it blooms. Looks really pretty. And it's supposed to bloom late spring to early fall, and it's a color pink. So I'll be anxious to see the blooms on that one. I got it planted and watered in good. And then I got some black-eyed Susans and planted them back here, and they need sun to partial shade. So this gets morning sun up to mid-afternoon, and then it gets shade for the evening. So I've got them all planted in there. And it looks like it's going to come another storm. Oh, my callus bulb is coming up. Look at that. And right there, I think I saw some over here on this side too. Let's go see. I thought I saw some the other day. Yep. Right there it is. And I think I planted some down here, but I don't see where they've come up yet. Well, good. Those bulbs were good. All right. Storm clouds are brewing. And there's just a light, misty rain right now. So I'll go in for the evening. It's been a hot day. No rain. And I'm up here this evening gathering up some pine needles from under the pine trees and spreading them in this landscape for mulch. So I think I might need one more load to complete this landscape area. I've already weeded the garden today and put more weed barrier down between the corn rows down there, so I've got that in good shape. Alright, I got the garden weeded again. Got the weed barrier between the corn rows. Oh, it's been hot today. And there's a storm moving in. Time to call it quits for the day. I'm so glad I put that extra weed barrier down. I still need to put a strip through here just so I don't have to weed that too. I've tied up the tomatoes, but with all the heavy rain, I mean, it was a gully washer yesterday several times. I need to come out and tie those up again and go ahead and tie these up that Pam got me. They're doing really good. The peas are doing good down there. The beans are growing on up the panels. It won't be long, they'll be blooming. The corn keeps growing tall. This is where I added the extra weed barrier, and I'm so glad I did, because it takes a lot of time to hoe that wide of a row out. The zinnias down there are growing tall, and all of these wildflowers along the side, none are blooming yet, none are forming buds. I haven't seen any buds, but I haven't looked closely to see. I don't think there's any on the wildflowers down through here. But they sure are growing tall. And something is eating on my zinnias, and it looks like it might be. Is that a Japanese beetle under there? It sure is. I'm going to have to take care of those. There's one down in here. Go away. You're not welcome here. Alright. No buds yet. Okay, let's get this thing started. My supper after a day of mowing: pork tenderloin braised, salad, air fried broccoli, sauerkraut. Hey, and welcome back to my kitchen. It's been a rainy week and it's been storming like crazy this morning. I've got an event to go to tonight, a ladies' event, so I thought I'd throw together this blueberry lemon tart I've been wanting to make. I confess it's the first time I've made it. So I hope it turns out good, and if it doesn't, I'll just stop by the bakery and pick up something on my way. But what I have done, first of all, is made the blueberry sauce, and it's just blueberries, cornstarch, and lemon juice, and some sugar, and put that on medium heat, mashed up the berries, and let it get thick. And now I've got it setting aside, waiting for it to come to room temperature. Now I'm making the crust, and the crust consists of butter, sugar, vanilla extract, salt, and all-purpose flour. So I have that stirred up in this bowl, and now I'm going to press it into my tart pan. See the scalloped edges? So it says you don't have to grease this, but you just need to press it up the sides and along the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back with you guys. Okay, I'm going to start pressing. And I'll just leave the recipe in the comment section below this video. So go to your phone or your computer or your tablet and look under the video and you'll see the description box. And you'll see in the description box at the end of it, it will say more. And you click on more and that opens up the entire description box. And there will be the comments, the recipes, and all the information you need to know. It says on the recipe that you think you're not going to have enough of this crust, but you will. So I'm just doing the sides first. And I'm doing it kind of thin. I may have to come back later and put a thicker layer on it. But I do want to make sure I've got enough to cover the bottom. Okay, I went and filled in some really thin spots there. Now let me try to press all of this in the bottom. It says you can use the bottom of the glass to help press, but it will stick sometimes to the glass, and I don't want to do that. So using your hands, you're getting the oil on your hands, and it's not sticking so bad. So I'm trying to get it evenly pressed out. I think that's looking good. Now it says to bake at 350 degrees for 15 minutes or until the edges are lightly browned. So let's get it in the oven. Now while the crust is baking, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the filling. So all the filling is 1 can of condensed milk. And I'm using the Eagle brand condensed milk. And I've already put it in the bowl. I use 6 tablespoons of real lemon juice. I squeezed the lemons and got 6 tablespoons of lemon juice. I've put in 1 teaspoon of lemon zest that you see in here. And now all I need is 1 large egg yolk. And I will put that in there. Scrape all that yolk out of the container. And I'm going to whisk this until it's all blended up good. So I'm going to use my electric handheld mixer with the whisk attachment on it. It's behind me, so I don't want to move the camera, so I'll whisk this up and we'll come back. Okay, I just took the crust out of the oven, and it says to take a fork and gently poke holes all over the top of the bottom of the crust, and said this will help the filling to stick to it. Don't poke all the way through, just lightly all over the bottom of the crust. Okay, I think that's good. Now it says, let me see. I've already prepared the filling, and it says put into a warm crust. So let's add it to this warm crust. You see how nice and smooth the filling turned out here. Okay, let's smooth that out. I don't know if my tart dish was a little bit too big, but it didn't fill it all the way up to the top. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Now for the next step, okay, for the filling, whisk all the filling ingredients together until combined. Pour into a warm crust. Stir up the blueberry sauce because it has likely thickened. It can still be warm when you use it in this step. If it's too thick, warm it in the microwave for 5 to 10 seconds. Drop spoonfuls of blueberry sauce all over the top, using about half of the sauce. Reserve the rest of the sauce for serving. Using a toothpick or a knife, gently swirl the sauce and filling together. Shimmy the pan back and forth 2 or 3 times to let the sauce and filling settle down into the crust a bit. Bake for 17 to 19 minutes, just until the center part of the longer jiggles when you give the pan a light tap. Okay. Bake for 17 to 19 minutes, just until the center of the tart no longer jiggles when you give the pan a light tap. It will still be a little sticky on top. Avoid over baking because the tart will taste rubbery. Tip: err on the side of under baking because the filling also has a chance to set up in the refrigerator. So you want a creamy, soft filling. Okay, well, I put the blueberry sauce in this glass jar and it has thickened up a bit, so I think I will put it in the microwave. Okay, now drop spoonfuls of blueberry sauce all over the top. Okay. Okay, and that's about half of it. And turn my oven. Yeah, I still left the oven on. I thought I turned my oven off, but it's still on. Okay, I've not swirled this before. I don't think you have to follow any certain pattern just to get it swirled in here. I'm going to swirl it like this. I think that looks better. Okay. Now, back in the oven it goes. It says to shimmy the pan back and forth, but that pan is pretty hot. Okay. For whatever that shimmying did. I'm going to put it back in the oven now. And it says 17 to 19 minutes, but I'll start with 15. For the other half of the blueberry sauce, I had this small jelly jar. So I put it in here, and I'm going to take it with me to use as a garnish as people get a slice of the tart, and they can put a little more blueberry sauce on it if they want it. Now, I had some extra lemon juice where I squeezed 2 lemons. I didn't want to throw it away. Lemons are so good for you. And what I've been doing is drinking lemon water. And it's not just slicing up a lemon and squeezing it into your water. You have to steep it like tea. So I put about 4 cups of water on boil. I bring it to a boil and turn it off. I slice 4 lemons, 3 to 4 lemons, depending on the size of the lemons. But I just slice them real thin and add them into that pot of hot water and put a plate on top of it and just let it sit there overnight or let it sit all day long to steep. And that hot water brings all the oils and nutrients out of those lemons. And then I just put it in a container in the fridge, and you can see my lemons in there. And so I put the extra lemon juice in this solution. So I drink a glass of this every day, and I just use some honey to sweeten it with, and it's a good refreshing drink, and it's so good, so many health benefits. So to get all those benefits, remember you have to steep it like you're making tea with it. Just let it sit all day or all night to release all the goodness out of those lemons. And leave the lemons in the water. Okay, I've taken the tart out of the oven at 15 minutes. I jiggled the pan and I don't see anything jiggling in the center. So I think 15 minutes is going to work fine. So now I have to let it come to room temperature. So I've got it setting on this wire rack. And after it's room temperature, I need to chill it. So I hope I have 2 to 3 hours for it to chill before I have to take it to the event tonight.